Yesterday we saw the psychology as depicted in the Gita. I took many verses spread across the Gita and tried to give you an idea how Gita talks about human psychology. Not only the problems but also the solutions. Today I will take a different approach. I will take one verse from the Gita, and based on the commentaries of the masters of the Gita, all of them written in Sanskrit. I will not quote the Sanskrit, but try to bring out the essence of that one verse in the Gita. And this is from the 16th chapter of the Gita, which is called Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. That is the classification of the demonic and angelic qualities of human beings. So it gave me an idea that we are talking about angels and demons here. Of course, I have to give a statutory or not statutory disclaimer that it has got nothing to do with the book by Dan Brown, and any resemblance is only coincidental, blah blah blah. Angels and demons. We have many angels, probably some are sitting just in front of me, and also maybe some demons also sitting. Angels and demons, more than that, there are many angels and demons right here inside me. And it would help if I know who these angels are, and it would help if I know who the demons are. So it helps if you know right people at the right places. So if you know people at the government offices, have their phone numbers in your mobile phone. Similarly, if I can have the contact info of these angels, they can do me a lot of good. And if I know whom to be careful about, it can be your students, it can be your faculty, it can be your co-students, anybody. You have to be like wary of some people, careful, cautious. So these demons, if you know about, you can be away from problems, trouble. So what does the Bhagavad Gita say? So we will be discussing only the first verse of this chapter. This comes in succession with another verse. They are read together. And that's why this was not very audible, but the chanting, it seemed as though it stopped middle of something. So it goes on further. This is the first shloka of the 16th chapter where the Lord says, the blessed Lord. I thought the Lord used to give blessing. Anyway, the blessed Lord said, fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga, almsgiving, control of the senses, yajna, reading of the shastras, austerity, uprightness. There is a semicolon, it's not a full stop. Wow. Anyway, we will start with this. So these are the qualities which are angelic or demonic? Angelic qualities. You would be meeting Swami Atmapriyananda ji on the first. So he told me one thing, that it's better to befriend angels and forget about demons, because throwing away demons or frightening them away or driving them away is difficult. So it's good to be a good citizen yourself, forget about the politicians. So he said that, he did not say that part, he did not say that part, that's my addition. So if we know whom we have to befriend, let us concentrate on that. So abhayam. Now this is a Sanskrit word which means fearlessness. This is a translation by Swami Swarupananda ji, who was the disciple, one of the monastic disciples of Swami Vivekananda. And he was a great intellect, and this is one translation where there is not much confusion created, just word by word translation of the Gita. And Swami Vivekananda says the best method to read Gita is first understand the word by word verbatim meaning and then go for the commentaries. So what is fearlessness? First of all, what are angels and demons? What is a demon? How does a demon look like this? Most of us have this idea. In fact, one professor was talking that when I said today angels and demons, he said yes, devas are not all that good and asuras are not all that bad. So there is a huge discourse on that. So we have an idea that demons are like this. Some people say Satan, some people say Shaitan, some people Asura, but we are not talking about these kind of demons. But anyway, this is a portrayal of demons, and there is fire of hell, etc. And angels like this, you should have wings. And I was watching a German film, interesting film, Wings of Desire. So some angels, they suddenly it occurs to them that they should also enjoy things, and they should also feel things, drink Coca-Cola, something like that. So there was some other movie like that in Hollywood. So what was that? Anyway, some movie like that. So angels should have wings, and they should be white, bright, and they should have this smiling. So some people say that Swamiji, you always, so that gives you the extra mileage. You smile, you be serious. Swami Vivekananda, one of the criticisms of Swami Vivekananda was that he used to laugh a lot. He said, what kind of a monk are you? You're not serious. You always make jokes, crack jokes. So you may as well ask me, what kind of monk are you? You quote from German films. Really? What kind of sannyasi? So believe me, I'm following the tradition of Swami Vivekananda. So you be jovial, because life is about here and now. If you are attached, that is here and now. If you have a problem, that is here and now, and the solution should be here and now. And this is not about being morose. I remember an incident which occurred in a school in Mumbai. One Swami, who is now heading one of our centers in the West, in the United States of America, US of A. So he was a small kid, and in that school his mother also was a teacher, and he was attending a class. There is a euphemism called moral lessons. Actually there is nothing moral about it. There is some kind of catechism. So they were having this class, and the father, he said that, in Christianity we know how to pray. We first of all, I respect Jesus Christ as Swami Vivekananda did, but I am just telling you how religion in practice or in preaching can become very skewed. So he said that while praying we are very somber, we are very serious. Unlike Hindu people who pray and make fun of everything, they sing bhajans, and how can you be so playful while praying? So one hand shot up, and this was of this Swami, to be Swami, and he said, Father, I have some objection. Said yes. Said, you preach as Christianity, I have nothing against it, but please do not talk about Hinduism. And as far as you are saying that how Hindus can be very playful and joyful while praying, then he said, you see, while we pray, we feel joy because we feel connected to the God, and it is not a painful process for us, it's a joy to pray. So a student of 7th standard telling that it was really, and his mother was in serious trouble, she thought she will lose the job, but nothing of that kind happened. So angel, we have an idea of demon, but what we are talking about, this is also another kind of angel, typical South Indian angel, Karthikeyan or Murugan something. Everyone has their own portrayal. This is another typical South Indian demon. Actually it's not a demon, it's a local deity. So what are we talking about? Who is an angel? An angel liberates. Feel good movie like that, feel good feeling. You get a good feeling from an angel. You feel good, that liberation, and makes you do good things. When you feel good, you are good, you radiate goodness around you. Suppose you get a good breakfast, your spouse makes, it should be spouse, because even husbands can make breakfast for wives, and it can be vice versa. So politically correct. Makes you do good and makes you act as told by the manual. The ancient wisdom, what is being handed over to you by your tradition, what you are taught in your classrooms, what is being told by your grandfather, granny. Of course that kind of talk hardly happens now, or probably what you have studied in some forum in Facebook, something like that. Some ancient wisdom which you got, you are able to apply that ancient wisdom, unlike the legend of Karna, where he got this, and because he cheated his guru, who was that? Parashurama, he told that he belonged to a Brahmin lineage, and then wasp was stinging him and blood was oozing out, and he said that Brahmins are usually weak people and they can't suffer this kind of physical suffering, so you are not a Brahmin. So he found out that he is a Kshatriya and you have lied to me. So Parashurama was hot tempered. So he said, okay, whatever you have learned will remain with you, but when you need it the most, you will forget. Wonderful. So it's like examination. So anyway, so if you are in touch with an angel, angel will help you remember even the things which you have only a faint memory of. It will actually guide you to go in the proper path. It will make you abide by the manual. So makes you act as told according to the ancient wisdom. And okay, what does a demon do? Oh, it went all black. So that's the first sign of a demon. No light, darkness. We'll come to that. A demon binds you. A demon binds you. So instead of feel good feeling, you feel depressed, suicidal, and you try to think whether it should be hanging or whether it should be poison. Toss. A demon binds you and then deludes and confuses. Okay, according to mythology, if we go by the mythological reading, even Krishna can become a demon. If you know, how many of you, all of you I think have seen this B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata, Main Samay Hoon. So this deludes and confuses. Now this Duryodhan was going to his mother. Who was that? Duryodhan's mother? Wow. So Duryodhan's mother Gandhari, and she knew that Bhima will smash this fellow. So she wanted to give some extra power, extra mileage, extra mile. They show it in this petroleum pumps. So she asked him to come naked to her, and he was going. And in between, our good old 420 fraud of all, the king of frauds. So he was there. He said, "Where are you going?" "Ah, chi 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 chi. Where are you going?" "So you're going to your mother." "Oh, really? Okay. What are you going to?" "You're going to mother in your birthday dress, this dress. At least have a loin cloth or something like that. Cover your, have some undies or something. You don't go to your mother like this." So confuses and deludes. It's a demonical quality or an attribute. Can't call it a quality. So he confused Duryodhana. Duryodhana says, "Yes, how can I go to my mother like this?" And you wore something. And it is exactly that spot, because Krishna did not stop at that. He went to Bhima and told, "Don't worry, I know the weak spot." So these fellows can be very difficult to handle. So deludes and confuses. This is the demon within you. Makes you forget all the good things you learnt, as we saw in the example of Karna. So, mythology is replete with imagery. We have to only properly read it. So these are the demons. And you become a demon by, how do you become a demon? We all have the potential to become demons. So if you become an academician, you partly become a demon because you start confusing people. Excessive weakness for things or people. Excessive weakness for things or people. We were dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangas teshu pajayate. So excessive weakness. I want to see this person now. Though I have a examination tomorrow, I want to see the photograph or something, as though the photograph will do something. Nothing will happen. But excessive weakness, as Dhritarashtra had for Duryodhana. So he knows that my son, what he is doing is wrong, but still he is my son. So I can't help it. I have this weakness. For things or for people. Some people who are into substance abuse, drug addicts or something, they know that they are into wrong things, but they can't help it. So excessive indulgence. It can be sweets, it can be cigarette, it can be pizza, it can be anything. You indulge yourself. It can be movies, it can be games, it can be anything. Some people just want to be on Facebook doing what? Nobody knows. So excessive indulgence and excessive hatred or violence. There are 4 kinds of people. No? Some people do good for some purpose. Some people do good for, first kind of people are, some people do good for no purpose at all. They do good just for doing good. Some people do good for some return. Do good, bad for some return. And some people do bad just for doing bad. So they are pure evil and the other one is pure good. So there is this excessive hatred or violence. This is a demonic quality, demonic attribute. You become Rakshasa. So what are the examples? Killing demons is all over Hinduism. Hindu mythology is full of kill Rakshasa, Mahishasura Mardhini. No? She kills this. So in Kolkata once, not the last year, the year previous to that, in one Durga Puja, in Kolkata, we have Durga Pujas, and every Durga Puja is beautifully decorated. You have pandals with different themes, and that itself is a big iconography. So Durga Puja, you had one Durga idol, and there was this Mahishasura dressed properly in white and with very sadhu bhav, and there was no Mahishasura in fact, and there were different kinds of asuras in form of policemen, doctor, lawyers, etc., etc. So the message was very clear. So kill the demons. That's the idea. That's what the mythology says. Kill the demons. But what it means is you kill the demons within you. There are interpreters and commentators who say that this all killing demons are actually, they mean what? They mean that you have to kill them, the demons which are lurking within you. What is fear? Abhayam, that was the first quality. So abhayam means absence of bhayam. In Sanskrit, this letter a can be used in a negative sense, and also in a sense to enhance something, and also in a sense of following. Anyway, but here it is used in the negative sense. Bhayam, abhayam. Bhava, abhava means bhava is entity, abhava is a non-entity. Bhayam is fear, abhayam is fearlessness. So first of all, we should understand what is fear. We all think we understand. We all watch horror movies, at least most of us do. So what is fear? In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is one statement, Dvitiyat vai bhayam bhavati. It is out of duality that fear arises. So when there are two, there is fear. One who is afraid, and the other one who is being afraid of whom the other person is afraid of. So X and Y, Y is the person of whom X is afraid of. This is fear. So basically fear means it posits, it assumes that there is the other. So Advaita Vedanta, you have all had lot of Vedanta. Sarva Priyanji also has taken classes, so you are all experts in Vedanta, I assume that. So Advaita Vedanta talks about an infinite reality, right? So infinite reality can always be only one, because if it were two, then there would be no infinity, right? So according to Advaita Vedanta, there is no cause for fear. Because we do not understand the infinite nature of ourselves, we are afraid. Because we do not understand that there are no two, Advaita. Dvaita means two, duality. Advaita means non-duality. So because we do not understand that there are no two, because of this ajnana or ignorance, we are afraid. So this concept of infinite being one, you are all aware of, right? Infinite can be only one, right? Yes or no? So if infinite can be only one, then we are afraid because we wrongly assume that there are more than one realities. We think that we have more than one reality and we are afraid of the other, and that other can be anything. It can be a boyfriend, it can be a girlfriend, it can be anything. So the other can be anything. It can be the darkness when you walk when it is totally dark. It can be a ghost, it can be anything, or it can be a horror movie. So basically you are afraid of the other. Like, this is the most basic primal fear, which is what is called as the survival of the fittest, the fear of losing your life. In Sanskrit it is called abhinivesha, clinging on to your life. So a weak person who is probably bahut dubla patla, if somebody goes with a knife behind that person will run so much that he or she can contest in the Olympics. So much, because full force will come, no, to save one's own life. Abhinivesha. This is one fear. And the other fear is the fear of the unknown, which we are all employing. Fear of the unknown. What will happen? I don't know. This is always the question mark. In career, in life, in relationships, what will happen? Big question mark. So we always are afraid of the unknown. And that is why you are showing some respect to a monk, because you don't know if you don't show respect, क्या हो जाएगा भाई, पाप लग जाएगा, क्यों झमेले में पड़ेंगे? Be safe. So fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. And that is employed in a wrong way by parents. How? Now this is what basically happens after a love failure or an examination failure or a career failure. You start to go and sit in a ekant place and think of the pros and cons of life and all that. But you don't think properly, because if you think, then you will actually attain to the solution. Then you think, and it's like Sri Ramakrishna's one parable. So there was a person who had some fight with his wife, and then he said, I don't like this grihasti sansar and all that, I am going to Kashi. And after going to Kashi, he wrote a letter, okay, I have got a good job here, you can also come down. So that is called in Sanskrit Markata Vairagya, monkey renunciation. So this monkey renunciation comes to all of us, But we, whenever immediately, you decide that you will never call that person, because so much of, argument. So you also delete the number, etc. But you also remember it in your brain. So, and then you wait, that you pray to God partly that you should not get the call. And then when the call is coming, you are again 1 hour on phone. So this is what? Markata Vairagya. This Vairagya we have. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. We have some living or live models of demonic qualities. So Hitler also did not know what Jewism was all about. So anyway, he wanted to find the Aryan race. His last quest was the Aryan race. And he tried to annihilate the entire earth of non-Aryans, and somehow whatever I don't know. But then we have this person. He did not, minus the Aryans and only Tamilians. So he wanted Sri Lanka to be run by, he parallelly ran a government, and there was another demon, okay. Now probably I am going, verging on the border of the political, so I don't want to. Another demon came and annihilated him. Anyway, so you have this Prabhakaran or somebody like that, and you have the recent example. All of you know. And probably India is the only nation where we take so long to kill a person who in broad daylight kills so many people, and we are very sure of that. All evidence act and all blah blah, we are sure, but still. And also we have activists will come and say that how you should protect human rights by not killing that person. Hats off. This person, are you anybody aware of? This is an angelic person. Anyone aware of? Are you aware of Malala? But this is Malalai. And this is not that Malala. In fact, that Malala was persecuted because she wanted to attend school. Unfortunate. Her name is Malalai Joya. And she was the youngest parliamentarian in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan has even now many warlords in the parliament. So she wanted to punish those people who were involved in war and who were perpetrating war crimes. And a big portion of the parliament is of Taliban. So they overruled her. Not only that, then she was persecuted, she was thrown off from the country, she started getting threatening calls and all that. Then she wrote a book, and she has written many books then on. There is a whole association which tries to speak for her rights, etc. Malalai Joya. This is Wikipedia Namaha. And anyway, she is already a suspended parliament member, and she says, I don't fear death, I fear remaining silent in the face of injustice. I don't know how many people in our country can say that. Raising My Voice is the best book she has written, or rather first book. Another angelic quality. Actually, not only angelic, but also showing the first quality of fearlessness. So we have fearlessness in two dimensions, angelic and demonic. Hitler was fearless in the wrong sense. Prabhakaran was fearless in the wrong sense. But were they really fearless? I don't think so. You know who is the most dangerous combination? Anybody who is most dangerous is a person who does not care for one's own life. And these are the people who are trained to become commandos. These are the very people who are trained to become militants. So, if a person doesn't care about one's own life, that person can be proper ideology or whatever ideology you want to put. If you put into that person's brain, he or she can be a very big, very strong weapon. So, fearlessness, when we talk about, we are talking about not these kinds of fearlessness. This is Sanjay Kumar, who fought in the Kargil war and he was honored, etc. But we are not talking about this fearlessness. Why? Can anyone of you tell me? Huh? No, not because of that. Anyone else? No, because this assumes the presence of the other. This fearlessness doesn't come with knowledge, but it is very much in the realm of ignorance. This fearlessness is not fearlessness but daredevilry. It assumes that there is somebody else of whom you were afraid, now you are not afraid of. Abhayam does not mean that. Fearlessness as told in Gita does not mean that. Fearlessness is knowing that there is nobody whom you should be afraid of. Means that person does not exist. There is no other. So this is all the blah blah. And this is again another example. How many of you know her? Okay. Sunita Krishnan. She runs she was gang raped and she runs an institution called Prajwala, and she is inspired by Swami Vivekananda's thoughts, and she runs this institution for taking care of sex workers and also to take care of people who have been traumatized like this and also to take care of their children. But we are talking about fearlessness like this. The fearlessness of the Buddha. So Buddha, what was his fearlessness like? He was predicted to be a Mahapurush, a great person, and because such prediction was been made, his father went to great lengths from preventing him from becoming a Mahapurush. See, if somebody is telling your son will become a great man, so what do? You will be happy, but no, his father said that okay, let me see how he will not become a great man. Then he tried to immerse him in enjoyment. He failed because just once he went out with his charioteer, saw 4 scenes of life, that of a sick man, and he asked his charioteer, will I become sick? Will I fall sick? He said yes. Will you fall sick? Yes. The next is of an old man. He asked him, what is this? Old age. Will you fall? Will you become old? Yes. Will I become old? Yes. A dead man. He asked, what is this? He has become dead. He has died. So, will I die? Yes. Will you die? Yes. And finally he sees a person, shaven head, happily roaming about. So he said, who is this person? He is an enlightened soul. He is a monk. So he said, okay. So can I become enlightened? Yes. Can you become enlightened? Yes. Finally he quits. Very rational. He says, okay, there is suffering and there is a way to come out of this suffering, and he finds out a way. All the scriptures in the world have started with suffering. There is the oldest scripture called Sankhya Karika, or philosophy, Sankhya. Dukkha Traya Abhigatat. There are 3 types of suffering, and out of these 3 sufferings, men or human beings are suffering. So what is the way to come out of the suffering? So the moment you see examination, you get stress, and psychiatrists get occupation. So, so whole psychiatry is made because of stress. So similarly, whole Upanishads, everything is because of suffering. So you have to suffer this class because you are suffering. See how it is, all vicious cycle. So Buddha's kind of fearlessness is what we are talking about. We are talking about a fearlessness where you don't need to fear anything. How do you inculcate that? Okay, we know how to inculcate fearlessness. In fact, it is inborn, it is within us. So how do we inculcate fear? We tell that रात को अंधेरे में मत जाना, वहाँ भूत है. Inculcating fear, we train people to be afraid. No, it's trained. A child is not afraid. By default, no child is afraid. But our education, our parenting, we corrupt a child systematically and ask that child to become afraid. Why? Because we are lazy parents. For example, if you have to explain the darkness, why the person should not go to darkness, why the person should not put hand in this. So we invent some names, Booba, Juja, something like that, Baba, Bumbu, something names like that. In all languages they are present. So and you tell that this person, you should not go there, wahan pe kya hai? Boo hai. Oh, theek hai. So Boo hai, something. And this unknown fear is cultivated, and when the person sees somebody and there is a failure either in career or relationship, then this boo comes in. So that kind of, so actually you have Bertrand Russell, no? You have heard. He was an agnostic. Agnostics are people who do not have anything to say about God. They are not atheists. It's not that they don't believe in God, they don't have anything to say on God, and he was most rational person on that. And he was a great mathematician also. Then he wrote many books. He wrote 10 reasons why I do not accept Christianity, etc. So this is one thing which causes fear. See, a library full of books, nobody, 12 o'clock in the night, you open the book. Sometimes I have to do that. Some Swami comes and says, Acha, this book I want, and I go to our library and open. Somehow it gives you that eerie feeling. So that kind of, or you go to a mortuary or a hospital and everything is closed and you go and suddenly you start imagining things. So Bertrand Russell gave an experiment. See, what he did was, he took a cat and he trained it to hunt. Of course, cat always hunt mice, so that's not a big deal. So anyway, he told that you have to hunt, and every time this cat caught a mice, he bet it actually. He gave it a nice beating. So next time, it went on and went on and on. So next time that cat saw a mice, it was afraid. No, it was like this. It was afraid. No, it was, oh, mouse. So I remember one song, that Dum Daba Ke Bhaga. It's an Amitabh Bachchan film. So there it says that when this mouse had a whiff of whiskey and this cat went running. So like that. So cat is actually by nature made or manufactured to kill the mouse. But by proper training or other improper training, you have made it become afraid of the mouse. That's what we do. Our true nature is, we are fearless. We are the Atman. We are the one reality. But by ignorance, by corruption, we think that we have so many people, we have so many qualifications, we are this, we are that. That is the cause of fear. And fearlessness is what? It is absence of fear, of course, and it is confidence in ancient wisdom, the manual again. And fearlessness is also steadfastness. Why? Because you know that this will not fail. Fearlessness is also coupled with a lot of faith and belief in one system. Like you are not fearless, you just sit in your car or something, you are not fearless that the roof will come down. Many people may be, but generally people are not. So that kind of, because it presumes that you have a belief, strong belief in the architecture of this building. Similarly, you have a belief in the vehicle. So you don't think that this will not work, that will not work. In fact, when you operate your mobile phone, you are very confident that it will work. So steadfastness, holding on to what you do because you are fearless. Fearlessness is also absence of doubt. Fear causes doubt. So the moment you are afraid that somebody is actually cheating you, so you start trying to see the call history and all that. No, this is a common phenomenon. In fact, you can write a book, many volumes on that. So absence of doubt. This is what happens when people are stressed. And fearlessness is also absence of the fears of what shall I do now? How shall I live alone? How will I do without an acquisition, any acquisitions? These are two three existential questions. I finished my qualification, what shall I do now? I finished my 10 plus 2, what shall I do now? Done with graduation, what next? Then how can I live alone? I need a companion. The ignorance in you makes you want a companion. So it's single, married, complicated, single. What shall I do now? And how shall I live alone? And then I should have something, no? How can I have nothing? No bank balance, what will happen? So I have no money, nothing. What can I do? So I need to have some acquisition. It can be even a water bottle, but something I need to have. That is the existential question, and that causes fear. Now we come to the next quality. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi. Samshuddhi means dirtlessness. Dirtlessness, what is dirt first again? Dirtlessness, does it mean this? This is cleanliness. And winter, particularly in areas where there is severe winter, you have to be always clean for the sake of, at least not for you, for the other people. You have to be clean, no? You should not smell, because some people, they go without bathing for days. So this is cleanliness. Cleaning of mind is what is meant by sattva shuddhi. And cleaning of intellect, buddhi, as we were seeing yesterday, jnana tapas, intellectual austerity, purification of your mind, purification of your thoughts, and subduing of your ego. Many people would have done better in life if only they didn't have this ego. मैंने किया है, मैं जानता हूँ, तुम क्या जानते हो, कुछ नहीं हो. So this closing of your system, stopping your learning curve, not getting things come into you, where Rigveda says, Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yantu Vishwatah, means let all good thoughts come from all sides of the universe. That is the learning curve you should have, subduing of ego. And dirt is what? So dirtlessness means that, cleanliness means what? Dirt is what? Controlling others by fraud or cheating is dirt. Hypocrisy, thinking one way and behaving otherwise. In thought, word and deed have a same belief system. So in this case at least, I think Hitler was not hypocrite. He was very clear in his purpose. So people who have good intentions, at least so-called good intentions, mostly they become hypocrite. Thinking one way and behaving otherwise. And falsehood, speaking of something differently than as perceived. So here Shankaracharya says, what is perceived? What you believe, what you have seen, and what you think. Whenever you tell something which is other than this, you are speaking a lie. In academic perspective, sometimes or most often, many a times, what we do is somebody comes and tells us that that person may be very junior, could be a student, tells us about some publication, about some book, and we have not even heard about this. We said, yes. Why? Because ego, of course. So falsehood, speaking of something differently than as you saw, than as you heard or you believe. And dirtlessness leads to what? Cheerfulness. Dirtlessness, absence of dirt, leads to cheerfulness. When you take a bath or shower, you become cheerful. When you apply some, that is on the very, very physical, gross level. But even at the mental level, you become cheerful. You do some meditation, you somehow feel a good feeling. Now this is, can anyone recognize this person? Huh? No? Anyone? Okay. Anyone? Saint Teresa of Avila. Anyone? No. So she was a 16th century saint, and she was a great sadhika or a spiritual aspirant. And in Indian tradition there is a bhava called Madhura Bhava, where you consider Lord to be your spouse, and you have a relationship of that kind of married kind of relationship. The bhava which Radha had, the bhava which Meera down south had. So she had such a attitude towards Jesus Christ, as all nuns are supposed to have, because they are married to Christ. So she told many things, brought a reform movement in the Christian order, and she says a sad nun is a bad nun. So most of the people, they think that when you become religious you should become, and smile in between, it gives you the mileage. So sad nun is a bad nun, and Swami Vivekananda, and she further said, a sad nun is a bad nun. I am more afraid of one unhappy sister than a crowd of evil spirits. Very strong statement. One unhappy sister, she is afraid of more than a crowd of evil spirits. Swami Vivekananda said so many things. He says, by the practice of cleanliness, okay, the Sattva Samshuddhi comes in the 33rd aphorism of Patanjali Yoga Sutras in the second pada or second chapter. So explaining that, he says that by the practice of cheerfulness the mind becomes concentrated and cheerful. The first sign that you are becoming religious is that you are becoming cheerful. Now he is becoming very strong in his language. When a man is gloomy, that may be dyspepsia, constipation, but it is not religion. The strong, the well-knit, the young, the healthy, the daring alone are fit to be yogis. To the yogi everything is bliss. Every human face that he sees brings cheerfulness to him. Facebook. That is the sign of a virtuous man. Misery is caused by sin and by no other cause. What business have you with clouded faces? It is terrible. If you have a clouded face, do not go out that day. Shut yourself up in your room. What right have you to carry this disease out into the world? When your mind has become controlled, you have control over the whole body. Instead of being a slave to this machine, the machine is your slave. Instead of this machine being able to drag the soul down, it becomes its greatest helpmate. So, if at all you feel depressed at any time, go to Facebook, and if you can't do that, please have a good sleep, do something, but do not let this depression percolate to your friends. So people have a habit of always being miserable, and let others also feel miserable about it. Dukh bari kahani. So don't do that, because that you don't have any right to do. And what is knowledge? So abhayam sattva samshuddhi. Then the next is jnana. So what is knowledge? Knowledge is what? Anyone? You are all very knowledgeable. Huh? This is knowledge, right? Then what? Google. Anyone? What is knowledge? Knowledge of the self. Knowledge is understanding your nature from ancient wisdom, or this ancient wisdom, the manual or manuals. So you have been told that this is how the syntax of the language should be. So you want to write a code, you should follow the syntax. Similarly, if you want to know whether you have knowledge, you understand yourself first, the knower. So knower, known, and the process of knowing. So understand your nature from ancient wisdom, what has been given to you through tradition. You understand that, and realizing that nature by focusing your mind. You may understand that you are a person who does not have any inhibition, who is fearless, who is pure, pristine, etc. But you may not know that. You may not realize that. How is that? How is it possible? Like, we understand that there are so many forces working in the nature, but we are not able to actually demonstrate them. We are not able to. Theoretical understanding is one, and there is another empirical understanding, or a experiential understanding, a practical understanding. So you know that yes, this is how it should be, but then how actually it is, you need to demonstrate it by experiment or something. Similarly, you have to understand your nature. Just by reading in the books, it will not do. Just by reading the manuals will not do. You should actually do it hands-on and understand, and that you can do by focusing your mind. Then dhanam. There is this verse talks about dana. It talks about charity. What is charity? Gift. But what is actually gift? Giving something belonging to you to others to whom it does not belong. Let us be very clear. So in one language there is a proverb which means that you go to a temple and offer a coconut, which was basically what you found in the wayside, something like that. So you get something for free and then you just offer it to the Lord. Not that. You have to give something belonging to you. It should originally belong to you, and then you give it to somebody who does not have that. This is gift or charity. And what are the kinds of charity? Anyone? Gift of life, Raktadan, Jivandan, blood donation, gift of life, and gift of material needs, that is the economical gift, food, clothing, etc. Gift of emotional needs. So this is also a gift which is very much necessary today. People, you have to just listen to people. They just went out, no? They just open up. So you just listen to them. Just give them some ear. It helps. It will help you, it will help them. Gift of intellectual needs. This of course you know better. You teach them something which that person does not know. Intellectual. And gift of spirituality. Most often we are not in a position to give this. Spirituality means, spirit is anything which is not matter, which is not material. So we most of the times we are not in a position to understand. But Swami Yatishwarananda, who was an illustrious monk of the Ramakrishna Order, would say that just as a person who has studied BSc can teach a person science of 10th standard, similarly a person who is into spiritual practices for quite some time can give some directions to a person who has just begun. So spirituality. So gift, you first life you can gift, you save a person or give blood donation or something, organ donation. You give some material needs, you give emotional support, and you give intellectual support, and the final and the greatest gift that can be given is spirituality. Now I come to one practical example which is, I think, to me very contested, very much controversial. Whether we should give money to beggars or not. No? Yes? Anyone? Anyone? Why you suddenly said, huh? Depends. Anyone? Yes? Nobody is telling yes. Okay. Yeah. See, I will just give you some points to ponder. Okay? I will just give you some points to ponder. How much do we generally give a beggar? 1 rupee coin? Now 50%, no, even not, I don't think even a beggar will accept. So 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee, 5 rupees maximum. When we go to CCD or Pizza Hut or Subway or whatever it is, Domino's, do we actually see what is the value we get and what is the value we give? When we go to pantaloons, do you actually think of the value? You don't. For God's sake, when you go to a multiplex, you have to shell out a hefty sum for a popcorn, really. But you do that because it gives you a comfort that you somehow are a great person, you can afford this. It pampers your ego. But when a person who has nowhere to go, like this poor girl, and out of that 1 rupee there is a share. You all have probably seen Madhur Bhandarkar's signal. No? Everyone has a cut. It's a huge mafia. If you can stop that, I am very happy. But if you can't, give what she needs. And if you don't want to give money, give her food, give her clothing, which probably will not be shared by this mafia. But I don't think you have any right to give her a class that why she should not beg. Do you have a better alternative? Do you have? You don't have. I think we become more selfish, in our pursuit of career. And India, particularly the younger generation, sorry to say, it's my observation and I work among these people. I have seen that we have become very selfish. Selfish to such an extent that when we were in school, we used to share tiffin boxes. It was very common. Nowadays, it's rare. We don't share. This whole concept of sharing, enjoying together has gone. Virtual togetherness is there, but actual togetherness is becoming absent. So don't give a class. उसका class लेने से कुछ नहीं होगा. You give some kapda, you give some food, and if possible give money. And what goes out is nothing. But believe me, you will have a feeling of goodness. You will have a feeling of nobility when you really help someone. Yes.
Most of the time we see that there are many people who are capable of working, they can work. Instead of giving money, but if we keep on giving, it's a non-ending job.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Some facility, like so that they are capable of working.
So next time when you, no, I know this point, so sorry I am cutting in between. This point is very good. So next time when you get a beggar, will you actually take the beggar your home and give them alternative employment?
We can try out. That will be
No, but how many times do you really try? Now my question is, how many times do you really try? Have you actually tried this?
not yet, but
So I think you at least give 5 rupees. Exactly, because what you don't understand is social service is not that important, that easy. It is important, sorry, but not that easy, because social service usually is done in this method. You give and somebody receives. You think so? Swami Vivekananda says, serve God in man. Shivagyana, let me complete. So you should understand this logistical problems of social service. You ask a person to do a job, now that person is belonging already inside a mafia gang. Now if the person goes away out of that begging circle, maybe some limbs will be cut, something will happen to them. Will you be there to protect that person? You will be. If you can take the responsibility, you have to take the person, and I don't know how much actually you mean that.
critical example I have to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes like if we give some class course and all, they will sell those things. Say in my house, one house.
Okay, but what money will get?
She was in need of cycle.
Huh.
I thought, okay, I have given her my cycle. Then after a few days, she sold the cycle.
And who got the money?
But they will misuse it.
No, okay, but who got the money?
And all they will
No, misuse it. This is not, my question is simple, is not pantaloons missing? See, why is that always when we, wait a minute, when we rent a radio taxi, we never bargain, but why is that we always bargain with that auto wala? You give me a logic, no?
That is different case. That is a different case.
Huh?
In case of people who don't go to multiplex selling, okay, who are their hard work.
Exactly.
What they should do?
No, you give money, 5 rupees, कितना फर्क पड़ता है?
No, it's not about the money.
हाँ,
That is the point.
हाँ.
We are, I think, missing it. It's not about the money.
You want to change the system?
No,
Then?
no, it's about like some. You see a young man.
हाँ,
He of course can work hard,
हाँ,
earn a livelihood. But since he's making a quick buck,
Huh.
not working and begging,
हाँ.
and if you are pampering him by giving money, you are not improving the system. You getting my point? It's not about the 5 rupee for me. I'm giving. I'm losing something. It's not that. It's
That
about-
person could she work? A small child.
I'm not talking
There
about
are
her.
many people who can work, but they will not work.
I'm
That's
not
all
talking
it
about her.
is. They know that they will get free money. They will be on train and like that. They will get so much of money. Even there are some people are so rich. They have a lot of money, but they seems to be beggar. So they will give up the work. They will not work.
I have a point.
Yes.
The thing is that, some of us has made a point that if I give a person a cycle, it's opposite, and that person sold it. Now the point is, if I give that person, donate that person the cycle, I should not be bothered about
What that person does with that, yes.
Because it's not anymore my property.
So, yes.
But there is a thing like we should not
कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट मैं करना चाहती हूँ मैं
Yeah.
हिंदी में बोलना चाहती हूँ because
बताइए, सब हिंदी जानते हैं.
मैं
Yeah, हाँ.
मैं आउटसाइडर हूँ फ्रॉम माय डीडीसीपी मेरे को इंटरेस्ट है इसमें एक्चुअली आई एम अ टीचर
हाँ.
आई टॉट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं इनसे कहना चाहूँगी कि आपने पैसा दिया कॉइन दिया ठीक है व्हाट ही वांट्स टू से ट्राई कर रहे हैं आपका भाव क्या है दैट इज मैटर ठीक है और समथिंग भिखारी हम उनको भिखारी कहते हैं इन अ सेंस परिस्थितियां सबको बनाती हैं एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू बी अ रिच एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू लीड अ लग्जरियस लाइफ हाँ वो आप सही कह रहे हो कि हम जो पर्सन काम करने लायक है उसे हमें काम देना चाहिए बल्कि इट इज ट्रू कि कितने लोगों के साथ लिम्स कट जाएंगे आप उसे बचाने आप नहीं जाओगे वो दिखेगा दूसरे दिन आपका ऐसे स्टेट में कभी देखिए आप कॉइन दीजिए अगला क्या करता है दैट इज नॉट मैटर आपका भाव अच्छा है तो आपके साथ ईश्वर है
नहीं होता ये
होता है ये कहने के लिए नहीं ये ट्रूली है
Wait, okay, peace. My point was that, yeah.
it so happens that they
So you just think how much poverty a person is into, that a person will cut the limbs. No, what I am talking about is, no. You see, you are presuming too much. How many associations you have actually seen? हाँ वो ठीक है ना, ऐसा होता है. मैंने देखा एक आदमी वो ऐसे चल रहा था, जब वो इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रेन उसका लेट हो गया, लोकल ट्रेन, तो वो भागने लगा उठ के. तो ये सब होता है. बट प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना है, कितने लोगों को ऐसे आप देंगे? आप 100 लोगों में देंगे? When you love a person, when you get into a relationship, do you really actually see for a true one? Why is that? Only when, no. Only when, no, let us not, no fun here. Only when you have to part with some wealth, you start finding who is the genuine person.
There is one thing.
Yes. Yeah.
What I found is,
Yes.
why giving money, what it will do. Many times when you actually give money as charity, you do not know how that money is
Will be used. Yes.
So sometimes what happens is the person can actually, let us say for the sake of argument, can buy a gun and shoot someone.
Yes.
So you might have inadvertently actually become an accomplice to a murder.
But in economics, wait a minute, in economics, no, this point I am taking, in economics, when you ask a shareholder to take care of your, what is called a portfolio, you may also be perpetrating. You are seeing only at the micro level, only at this level. You may be part to, unknowingly, part to many such things.
In fact, I'll give you another example. So what happened, having this in mind, I've decided never to give money, but address the need.
Good.
Be compassionate, but address the need. But
Good.
here, there's also a challenge here. This actually happened. Okay? This person X, I don't want to name the name of people. Person X was going in front of a shopping mall. Okay? This actually happened somewhere in US. And there was a beggar, lady, very well dressed, and she said, I've lost my job. I'm really looking for food. So, and she said, give me money. So this person X said, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll give you food. She said, no, then I don't need food. Buy me groceries. It's just a little bit. I said, okay, fine. Went in. And this person made a bill of $800. $800, and the person X simply paid that because he or she said, I'm going to pay for you. So,
To be truthful.
So the thing is, it's actually happened. So the thing is, sometimes you kind of, you are stretched. So the thing
No, but again I will say, statistically the probability of your being stretched is, for a ordinary intelligent person, I would not have paid $800, I would have stopped with $10. So it is probably they mistook intelligence. So statistically it will, no. Yes. The whole point is, you see, you see, the point is that you or we as people, individuals, I don't think we will be able to stop begging. But by not giving money, very good, don't give. But at least give food. At least give something. See, the whole idea of charity, for which Indian tradition has been popular, now this is going away. You give something. Don't get into so much logical Are you getting my point? Begging is not good. It's a social evil. Everyone accepts that. But then you try to give something to that person, because a person, when somebody is coming to you, it could be even your friend, with hands, and then says that I want something. You give food, or you give clothing, or you give something. And what that person will do, this is again, some people take money and go and drink. It's very common. Some people take drugs. So we cannot do, because in other spheres of life, for example in corporate scenario or in economics, we don't actually see what the banker does with my money. We don't see what the share broker does with my money, because he's in a different setup, The presentation is different. So if you actually analyze,
Patra is to be seen before we give change.
Yes.
This you agree?
Yeah, Patra is to be seen, but in that
We see
yes.
the Patra is pious.
Yes.
Lord Buddha, one person went to Lord Buddha.
Yes.
He said, I want to become spiritual. All right, you come to me. And then he said, no, I come to your place tomorrow. He was like this person. What he did, that in a golden thal, he you want to become wise, if you want to become spiritual man, if you cannot do it, you cannot become
A spiritual person, yes.
So, patra is to be seen.
Patra is to be seen,
Yes.
but
Gita also says so.
yes,
Gita also says,
yes,
if you are giving charity, you see a patra. He doesn't drink, smoke, gamble. What is it? What you can give is needs, as you say. Clothing, medicine.
yes.
And if they are vidvanas, exact word is there, then you give them
Knowledge,
money.
yes.
Money is only given to the vidvanas.
Vidvana means who are people who are, yes, people who are knowledgeable, people who are wise, not people who have just studied scriptures. That is the interpretation of Vidvana in that shloka. But what I want to tell you here is the very concept of charity in terms of sharing, we should always remember. That we should always remember. And we should not be too much carried off because the propriety or impropriety of the usage of that sharing. That we should understand, because the sharing you are doing for your own good. Restraint of external organs, this image we are all aware of. So, restraint of external organs is again one angelic quality. And what are the 5 sense organs? They are organs of sight, eye, organ of touch, skin, organ of taste, tongue, organ of smell, nose, organ of hearing, ear. And what is the eye? You know, this is the eye of a baby. Anyway, some other eyes were there. And beautiful images attract and ugly images repel. So, eye has got this kind of mechanism inbuilt. So, beautiful images always attract, and this everyone feels attractive, and this repellent. This is the structure of eye, but there is, eye does not see only by this organ, you all know that. There is a nerve center, there is a real organ, and that also does not help in seeing. So, unless you have your mind, you do not see. So, I can actually stand like that and khoya. So, I will not be actually getting in. So, I need my mind also focused to actually see. First, this lens is necessary, then this optic center in my brain is necessary, it processes the image, and then finally my mind is necessary. This is the process. So, you can, some people can very nicely meditate without closing their eyes. Some people can sleep without closing their eyes. So, absence of mind, skin. The skin is very dangerous actually, very, very dangerous. And skin is some touch, it creates all the confusion. So, this is the skin, epidermis, etc., and you have, of course, you have all this stuff, and you know what this is? I was googling and I found out this. There is a treatise called Prabodha Sudhakara by Shankaracharya. There he says, don't be very proud or very egotistic about you being a beauty queen or a handsome king, because if a crow were there and if you did not have skin, say beauty is only skin deep, literally so, because if you did not have skin, the crow would have just pecked at you and only skeleton would have remained. So, please do not be very proud of your beauty, it is only skin deep. Then you have tongue, and it again creates further confusion, all the taste buds and all that, and this tongue, and you have these are, you see, so actually you can see experiments. So, some taste centers are here. So, if you touch the food which does not have the taste center in the beginning of the tongue, you will not feel any taste. You will have to touch it properly at the proper place. Then, okay. Tongue. This is, no, this is tongue, the child tongue, the twaddle tongue, what do you call? Tota tota batta bolta hai, that tongue. So, you have tongue in various ways, you hear, you have this sound, you have this sense of taste, then nose. This is also, all these organs have a nerve center. and also mind should be focused. So you have a smell, but many people have traffic jam, they don't get the smell. So like that. So you smell, perfumes, and ear, again you have ear, and again the same thing. Interestingly, there is kind of a fluid in our ear which helps us to stand erect, and if that fluid is disturbed, you will feel giddiness. I don't know why it was kept in the ear. So this different kinds of music, some jarring, some not, and now we come to the point. Shabdadibihi panchabireva pancha panchattvamapuhu swagunena baddaha kuranga matanga patanga meena bringa naraha panchabira anchintaha kim. The idea is that human being is devastated or distracted or confounded, confused by 5 senses. The deer has only one sense which creates problem, sense of sound. So because of sound, the deer gets into trouble. The elephant has the sense of touch. So you know, elephant, if the she elephant goes and touches the he elephant, elephant will become ecstatic, and that is where people who hunt elephants, that's what they do. They have a she elephant and she does just go and touch, and there will be a big trap, they fall. Deer, some sound is produced and the huntsman kills the deer. The moth, sense of vision, it sees light, goes there and it is killed. The fish, sense of taste, it falls for the bait, literally. And the black bee, sense of, what is it? Perfume. It smells, goes to the flower, and then the flower gets closed and it dies. So these 5 have died because they had attraction to only one sense. What is the plight of human beings who are attracted by all these senses? That's the idea. It is a shloka from the Vivekachudamani of Shankaracharya. So we are really in a very, very unenviable situation, very difficult predicament. So we should understand that, and that is why we have to do what is called restraint of the senses. Now this is a person, a psychologist called Daniel Todd Gilbert. He worked on what is called synthetic happiness. Synthetic happiness, there is a YouTube video, you can all Google it, and it was actually a TED video. You all know TED Talks. So it talks about how you can actually, the brain can process a kind of synthetic idea of happiness. We are all not happy because we create notions of happiness. When you entered IIT Kanpur, you already created a notion of happiness that only if this happens, I will become happy. You are actually programming yourself at various levels that only this particular variable or this particular factor will lead me to happiness. You are restraining yourself. So you imagine that your happiness is actually restricted only to particular spheres of life, and that is what he is talking about there. So how you can actually create happiness synthetically, artificially. Now we are talking about sacrifice. There is a concept of yajna which comes in the verse, and that is about 5 types of, usually sacrifice means this kind of havan or something, but this sacrifice is different. Sacrifice to gods, sacrifice to pitru, that is your departed ancestors, other beings and human beings. So gods, you do all kinds of yajnas, then this you do tarpan, etc. And this, some people give food to pigeons, and some people have pets. Then you try to help other people. Now this is a continual cosmic sacrifice which is going on in the universe. So it's better that you give to the society. We receive from the universe food, knowledge and spirituality. That is labor, and you give back to the universe labor, knowledge and spirituality. It's like that. You have to give back. Otherwise what will happen? It will be taken away from you. Like if you don't labor, Swami Vivekananda says it is better to wear out than to rust out. See? So if you don't work, you will get diabetes, you will get hypertension, you will get all the ailments associated with a sedentary lifestyle. And if you do not give knowledge, you will forget, you will get dementia. So what is the use of such knowledge? Then if you do not give spirituality, you will be yourself depressed, you will be confused, perplexed. So this cosmic sacrifice is going on. We get 3 things: food and knowledge and spirituality, and we need to give back to the world labor, knowledge and spirituality. Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Speechless, dumbfounded, spellbound, mind blowing. Means blowing the mind. Any questions? No questions? We had some real, huh? Yeah, please. Thank you. Sorry if I have hurt you in some way.
In one place you have told, if somebody is sad, you should not go and tell to others that I am sad.
No.
Inside the house. What I understand is, if somebody is sad and somebody is not sharing his thoughts.
No, I got the point. I got the point. No, that is not the idea. The idea is some people, instead of analyzing their miserable, the cause of their misery, they go on making other people miserable. You see? Mujhse ye nahi hoga. Even physical, it is at various levels. Physical level, they say, I have got this, I have got that, I have got. You see the doctor. That they don't do. They go on advertising their illnesses. How does it help? Okay. Emotional is okay. What you are telling is okay. Dukh baantne se kam hota hai na. That is okay. Facebook is there for that. Kidding. No, that again requires a series of lectures. Whether Facebook is an addiction or not. So, no, I am kidding. What I am telling is, this of course is there, that many people, have you not come across such people who go on broadcasting their misery?
But that time by doing so they become light.
No, don't do that. You go to your friend, a person who will actually give an ear to you. Instead of doing it, no, don't do this global broadcast. Have this group broadcast. Give it to some group, particular forum. That's what I meant. Any other question?
Most of the crimes, most of the suicidal cases are because they are so introverted.
Because they have no friends. And that is why you should have volunteer groups who will actually see, and when a person is going morose, you go and talk to the person. That is more in close quarters, right? Okay. And anyone else?
So which scriptures are good reference material for fighting against demons which are inside?
Any scripture. It could be the Bible, it could be the Gita, it could be the Upanishads, it could be anything. So one thing many people don't know, the scriptures of the Hindus are the Vedas. Because generally people will say Mahabharata, Ramayana, Gita, none of them. They are the Vedas. So any scripture you can use. Because all speak the same language. Yes? Okay. No other question? No. No, you first, okay, this is again a different topic, de-addiction. How do you, any addict cannot come out of addiction unless the person feels a need to do so. This is a very basic of any de-addiction program. So,
When somebody is so much depressed, they don't want anybody's help actually.
so you know, this is a psychological, a basic fact of psychological counseling, that you have to first try to impress upon the other person, the counsel that is, that there is a need to come out of the problem. As she said, people who are depressed, many people are cool with depression, you know. So you need to first make them, first identify the problem. So unless they do, even if you help, try to help, he or she will only find a way out. And when that window, they will just take drugs. So you cannot stop it.
So how to verify the demonic you which is
By cultivating the angels. So by going towards the north, you automatically go farther from south. You don't try to fight the demons, you actually cultivate more angels. Easier. Sacrifice to gods means the very primal sacrifice is bakre ko bali chadana. But there are different kinds of sacrifices. You give naivedya, you offer something in some food, etc. That kind of sacrifice. Or also it could be, it need not be a material sacrifice. It could be a sacrifice of thought, a sacrifice of resolution, that I will speak truth, I offer this, which is called sankalpa in Sanskrit. You actually take some kind of resolution in the name of some deity. So that also can be done. It depends on how you look at the whole thing, what is your belief system. One meaning of that prefix a in Sanskrit is opposite. No, only a. Yes. Not in every case. Not in every case. Already, if there is a opposite antonym for that word, you don't get an antonym by adding a. Like there is what? Jnana. No. What is that? That is there. Satyam, asantyam is there. No, if you have some other word, I'm not getting examples right now. So there are many words which have already got some antonym. So you will not get an antonym by adding to those words. Otherwise, generally you get antonym by adding a.
Is it better to donate some poor person rather than spending that money for service of God?
Yeah, very good. Swami Vivekananda says that you are thinking of so many 30 crores of gods and forgetting those human beings who are around you. That's what exactly Swamiji says. No. You see, everyone has got their own belief system. You cannot bring a person, or there can be no progress in anyone's life by shattering one's belief systems. That is why Gita will say that you have to keep their bhava or their attitude, that has to be maintained. Yeah. Yes. Yes, you can do. You can do mental worship also. Yeah. It's called Manasa Puja. Yes? Okay. So thank you. Is it not? We call it a day. Thank you.